In this video, I want to take a minute to talk about how you'll be graded in Chemistry 162. This is my assessment structure. It's really based on specifications grading, and I've stolen a few elements from labor-based grading. And so hopefully you've seen these types of grading styles before. If not, this might be totally new to you. It is kind of my own mashup of things. So I'll walk through what it means. First of all, when I'm grading, I'm going to grade all assignments as either incomplete or complete or mastery, which is really like you've completely mastered these concepts. Yay! I'll have a rubric that explains what this like mastery grade looks like for every assignment, but basically it's an A- on whatever it is, like on a lab or a problem set or a project. And so really it's saying either you understand this concept or are communicating your understanding of this concept effectively enough that I am confident that you get it. There might be small errors, and that's okay. But there aren't any large gaps in knowledge, and that would be mastery. Or you have something complete, which is you've attempted all the problems, like you've done the work of trying to do it, but there is some large gap in knowledge, or there's a lot of errors, and it still needs work. Like maybe you're proficient, but you're not quite at the level that I would call mastery. And then incomplete means that the instructions have not been completely followed. It's not all the problems have been attempted or something along those lines. So that's going to be our three styles of grading: incomplete, complete, mastery. For all assignments, you'll be able to revise them after you get feedback from me. So you'll turn something in, I'll give lots of feedback. You'll then revise it and give it back. I may give lots of feedback and it's at a mastery level, in which case you're done. You don't have to do anything else. Some of our assignments you can revise as many times as you need to, like our introductory assignments, like your introduction discussion, or homework assignments or group assignments. These I'm not using for assessment. These are learning tools. Now, assignments that I am using to assess your understanding of chemistry, you'll have one revision on. So you can turn it in, I'll give feedback, you can revise it, and then turn it in one more time. That revision process can happen with help. It doesn't have to be in isolation. But some of these things I'm going to ask you to not seek help from peers or tutors or anyone else, but from me, especially problem sets, which are my main problem sets. Are kind of like how it's like a take-home exam, I guess. It's how I'm really assessing where you're at individually. And so if you need clarification, especially about my feedback, I'm happy to give it, but just drop me an email. In general, our overall grade for the quarter is going to be based on the number of assignments you complete and the number of assignments you complete at a mastery level, rather than accumulating some number of points. I'll try to give really clear expectations of what I am what I want for mastery work or complete work. And if you ever have questions, just let me know. I am not trying to trick you in any way, shape, or form. I am trying to be crystal clear, but sometimes something that's clear to me will not be clear to you. And the only way I'm going to know is if you let me know. So how does this compare to a traditional grading system? So I'll kind of summarize this table. In a traditional grading system, you accumulate points. There's points for each assignment, and you're trying to get as many of them as you can. Every mistake you make leads to a reduction in that number of points. You then accumulate points over the course of the quarter, and a percentage of the total possible points is your grade. Usually deadlines are pretty rigid, and when you complete an assignment, you get some number of points. You learn from your mistakes, and you'll apply that knowledge to some later assignment, like a final exam. So in this class, instead of accumulating the points, we're just going to give essentially incomplete, complete, or mastery grades. So it's either you've got it, you're still learning it, or you haven't really finished attempting it. And so without that accumulation of points piece, your grade is really just like, well, how many of these assignments did you complete? How many did you actually finish? How many did you finish at a level that's about an A-? And then with the revisions, we inherently have flexibility built into our deadlines, right? So they aren't as rigid, and you won't be applying that, like you won't be revising your knowledge or working to improve your understanding of something for some assignment at the end of the quarter. You'll be doing it for that assignment right away. Regardless, no matter which way I teach, I always try to give lots of feedback on assignments. Let me know if you ever feel like that is lacking, so I can increase the amount I'm giving you. All right, I'm going to walk through the different assignments we're going to have. Introductory assignments. These are easy. This is just us getting the class going, me making sure that you understand the class policies and like the kind of like housekeeping work we just need to do for this quarter to function. So here's a list of the types of assignments you'll have. Most of them are going to be in the first week of the quarter, but some of them will be later, like grade self-assessments will happen in weeks 4, 7, and 10, and you'll return your lab kit at the end of the quarter. The rest of them will take place in this first week. These will just be graded as complete or incomplete. You do them or you don't. Group assignments. These are also going to be graded as complete and incomplete, and you can revise them as many times as you want. There will be a weekly assignment for weeks 2 through 10 where you'll work with a small group, and you'll have the same group through the whole quarter, 4 to 6 students. We'll see how it shakes out at the beginning of in the first week. And these assignments are typically going to be discussions that you'll kind of record your thoughts about. And these will be either related to demonstrations or discussions related to assignments like our case study homeworks, or it's going to be the active peer reviewing lab assignments. And the idea is that you're going to check in with a group of peers every single week, and you'll have then a support network then built into the class to be able to ask questions, kind of like double check your thinking, things like that. Especially in an online environment, it's really hard to create the natural study groups that form when we are in person. So hopefully this helps. So these group assignments will be weekly. If you have to miss one, you'll be able to make it up by either coming to my office hours and working with me, or working with a tutor, or going to open lab. Homework. There's 2 types of homework. There's 9 assignments total. Most of them are just going to be practice problems for the end of the chapter. These will be graded as complete or incomplete. It's hard to just say like work for a certain amount of time. So what I'd like you to do is work on a set of practice problems until you're at about 85% of them correct. Go to 100% too if you want. The idea is that it'll probably take you a couple hours, some people more, some people less. It just kind of depends on the type of learner you are. And these are here for practice. You can revise them. So if you get a problem wrong, you can try again in a calculation. And these are meant to just be help practicing calculations. It's not going to cover everything in the chapter. It's not going to be a good like overview of all the concepts, but it'll be a great way to practice calculations. We'll also have 1 case study homework per unit. So we'll have 3 of these total. That'll kind of cover a concept within 2 chapters within a unit. And these case studies are usually going to involve reading an article or watching a documentary or something. It'll also be tied to calculations. It'll also be tied to short answers and thinking through and applying a concept to a real world problem, or sort of real world problem. And these case studies will have a component that'll also have a group assignment where you will be discussing with your group and reflecting about the case study together. So I'm hoping that you work together and support one another through these case study assignments. Labs. We'll have 6 labs. And these are going to be graded incomplete, complete, and mastery. And you'll have just 1 revision for each. Some of these are going to use the lab kit that will be provided in the first few weeks of the quarter, and some of them will be fully online. And it's about 3 and 3. The labs are also going to all use a lab notebook that you will be taking pictures of the pages and then turning in. Doesn't actually have to be an actual bound notebook because like we're all online. And some of these are also going to be formal reports. We'll be learning about maintaining a lab notebook this quarter, and we'll be learning about how to write a formal lab report. And so we'll have assignments that build in how to do that, especially in the first 2 labs. And then we'll also have peer review built into our group assignments, so that way we can all get better at writing. Problem sets. So this is one of my main ways of assessing your knowledge. So these will be incomplete, complete, mastery. You'll have 1 revision, and these must be completed individually. Do not work with a tutor. Do not work with anybody. Treat this like a take-home exam. They'll take some time. They will cover 2 chapters. They'll be harder problems. They'll synthesize and apply concepts. And I try to make them somewhat interesting. They're interesting to me, so that's take that with a grain of salt. And you'll get some credit for completing these, but really you want to revise these to a mastery level to build up your grade. Projects. Let's say you have to miss some class, like you just have to miss a couple weeks. It's hard to make it up, and you need to build up your grade. You can do projects to do that. They'll have a rubric for each type. There's a lot of different types of them, everything from just showing me your like summaries of your notes for each chapter, all the way to like writing it a paper or making an infographic or doing a presentation. Or if you're really good at exams, I'll even make you a final exam. You can take a cumulative final exam for a project and bump up your grade 0.2. So these also will just have one revision opportunity unless it's in the last week, in which case there won't be a revision opportunity just because there won't be time. And they can be done at any point in the quarter. Here's my kind of brain dump overview of how we're going to grade. So the way I kind of think about it is like, what does a B mean to me? Well, what a B means to me is that a student is completing all the group assignments and all of the homework. They're like doing the core work of the class. And then they attempt all of the labs and they get feedback and they revise them all to a mastery level. And that is a solid B in the class. To get better than that, to get an A, then you need to start mastering the problem sets and taking those on. And you will like completing all of the problem sets and all of the labs and homework and group assignments and all at a mastery level gets you a 4.0 in the class. And so less than a B is when you're missing some of these core assignments, the group homework and lab assignments. And so these are all different assignments. So like missing one will have a different impact. You miss a homework, it's minus 0.1 GPA. You miss a group assignment, same thing. If you miss a lab though, like if you just don't even attempt it, that's like 0.4 of your GPA. The labs are critical to this class, so do them. They will have a huge impact on your grade. Not revising it to mastery, that'll just drop your grade 0.2. And so just barely passing the class at a 2.1 will be completing all the group assignments and homework and completing the labs, but only revising one of them to mastery. Now, you can also use projects to build up your grade at any of these levels. You can use problem sets to build up your grade at any of these levels too. No matter where you're at in the class, completing a problem set at a mastery level will increase your grade by 0.3. And completing a project will increase your grade by 0.2. You can't increase your grade past a B unless you've completed the homework and the group assignments though. So tracking your grade is going to be a whole thing because Canvas doesn't handle this well at all. It loves percentages and we're just not doing that. So I've made a spreadsheet for you that you can download. And this spreadsheet looks like this. And as you complete assignments, and you'll see in Canvas, it'll say complete, incomplete, or mastery for your assignments. If it's a little dash, it's just not graded yet. And then you can update the spreadsheet as things are graded. And there's instructions embedded in the spreadsheet for how to update it. Like you just put a yes if it's completed or mastery. And if it isn't, then you put a minus 0.1, 0.4, 0.2, depending on the assignment type. And then this is going to auto tally your grade and spit out a GPA at you, which is in that upper right-hand corner. We're going to assume you have a 3.1 in the class on day one. And if you meet all the expectations for a 3.1, you'll have it at the end. If you do more, you'll have a higher one. If you do less, you'll have a lower one. And so as you fill this out, you'll be able to predict your GPA. And so then you can play around with this too. You can be like, well, what if I miss this and this and this, but I do this, this, and this? And you can input things in here and then see what your GPA would be. The hope is that there aren't any surprises about your grade and that you have all the tools you need to plan a route or a pathway to get the GPA you want. And if something goes wrong, that you can plan a backup plan and then another plan. And so you will hopefully have some flexibility on how you meet that goal. And that is our grading structure for this quarter. Let me know if you have any questions.